Oh,
But
there
yeah.
we go. Okay. Says hi, we're here.
Yes. Well, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us, for tuning in. This is Be Her presents The Journey to Self Love with Bonnie Griffin. It's our special guest tonight.
Hello.
I'll quick introduction. If you don't know me, of course, I'm Be Pleasant or Brittany Pleasant. I'm the owner of Be Her. I help women to heal through their emotional trauma through the power, word, and love of God. And I'm just excited to be here and to have Bonnie to join us. It's been on my heart to really just talk about self love and the journey of self love because it's up and down. We go through different phases of it. And I think it's really important for us to just hear it from different perspectives. So, Bonnie, definitely go ahead and introduce yourself and then we'll get started.
Hey, hi. I am Bonnie Griffin, and I am currently I have a couple of things going on. I work for a FedEx contractor doing the 9 to 5 gig. If I'm lucky, it's 9 to 5. But I also am a Mary Kay independent consultant, and there is a reason why I got into that, which I'm sure we'll get into later. But yeah, I spent 20 years as a hairdresser, and my focus was for the people that sat in my chairs to feel better about themselves leaving than they did when they came in. And which kind of was part of the reason why it led me into the Mary Kay thing too, because I didn't want to stand behind a chair for 16 hours a day again, and I missed it. And so there, because it does do your soul good for other people to be happy and to feel better about themselves. And I feel like, you know, it's super important to do that for yourself. And that was a struggle for me for a really long time.
I completely, totally get that. Um, so I guess I will start by to to you. What is self love?
Self love to me is primarily about forgiving yourself
Mm-hmm.
because we're human, right?
Yeah.
And we as women are held to a really high standard. And we have so many expectations on our back. You know, a society puts us responsible for everybody in our lives. And it doesn't matter if it's our kids, our husbands, our wives, if, whatever your situation is, um, you're responsible. You're the one. If your kids act up, they don't point the finger at the dad. They point the finger at the mom. And we're responsible for how our kids are behaving, how they're raised, how the house looks, if you can cook or not, or um, are you not, if you're not stressing yourself 24/7 and doing everything perfectly. I feel like we can get caught in a trap where we lose value in ourselves, and we allow other people to lose value in us because we are teaching them that it's okay to not value us and to not forgive us because we're forgiving ourselves when we can't accomplish the impossible all the time. I mean, nobody's 100% all the time. Nobody's 100% of the time. And I feel like we are so hard on ourselves when we aren't 100%. And why it's expected for us to be that way is ridiculous. But we're very hard on ourselves. And it's just, I feel like self love, first and foremost, is being able to forgive yourself for mistakes that you make, for not being that 100% all the time, and allowing yourself, giving yourself permission to still accept that you are still worthy of all the good that is going to come back to you and that you can have in your life.
Absolutely. You said a lot.
I'm right. Sorry.
No. It's a great thing because the when you think of self love, a lot of times, a lot of people, I know for myself personally, I also used to think of just the physical things that you can do for yourself, and um, forgiveness is something that I think is often so overlooked because you are absolutely right. We are so extremely hard on ourselves. We don't give ourselves enough grace, and then on top of that, I know that I used to become resentful of other people when they didn't give me the grace. But we set the example for how, we are to be treated, how we want to be loved. And yeah, you're just spot on. I think that forgiveness is key for sure. So what are some ways, trying to think how I want to word that, when it relates to forgiveness? And when you know that you've made, so many mistakes, what are some things that you did personally to help you get to a place of being able to say, you know what, I didn't make the best choice. Maybe I should have done things this way or that way. How did you pull yourself out of that place that sometimes that we get to, um, when we're holding that grudge against ourselves, when we're beating ourselves up, and honestly, when we're having those pity parties? How did you climb out of that?
So every situation has a different way to handle it, right? Um, was gosh, one of the biggest things, and my first child was my daughter, and I had her when I was 21. Now, the circumstances weren't that great when it came to her dad. He was a drug addict and had become that way while I was pregnant. So I was completely unprepared for that. And I had never been around that environment ever in my life. So it was a completely different new experience for me. And I was and I had residual issues from my childhood that I didn't recognize that were developing into mental health issues. And so you figure I'm 46. Okay. So back then it was, I mean, it's still, mental health is still very taboo. But back then it was really taboo. And people, there wasn't nothing for somebody to call you crazy. And nobody wants to be called crazy. It's terrible. But anyway, I didn't realize anything was wrong with me. So how I reacted, I was in the privacy of my home. So when I would have my episodes, my daughter, unfortunately, was the one that would witness our experience that, and with me, not so great a lot. Um, and so as she got older, and I started to realize what effect it was having on her, it was too late, and the damage had already been done. And I hated myself for a really long time because I felt like I put her as a mother. But when, I started going to a counselor, and she explained to me that I can't live the rest of my life like that. You can't turn back the clock. You can't change any of it. Right. So first of all, you have to be accepting that the past is the past and things happen, and there's nothing you could do about it. Once the decision has been made, you have got to understand the consequences are the reward there, and you got to accept one. Okay? this came in was I saw I beat myself up so much that it was doing nothing but damaging me further. It wasn't helping her, my daughter, at all by beating myself up. So changing the situation, and if any, I was worse from that, and I would go into these deep, dark depressions and felt like so worthless and felt like I was nothing but a failure, and that people would talk about me. And I'm so sorry that people would talk about me, and that that she would hate me for the rest of her life. And she's still healing, you know. But I her right, and had to learn that I couldn't in a party feel sorry for myself for things that I didn't understand and things that I didn't know any better. And I had I had to forgive myself for mistakes that I made because I couldn't change them. And it's not about, and this is where I really want to make a point, right? So you can forgive yourself, but forgiving yourself doesn't mean that other people are going to forgive you for things that you've done. Okay.
Right.
That's something that you have to accept. You have to accept that, you know, you don't, it's not required, okay, for other people to, it's nice if you get the forgiveness from other people, but you have to be able to forgive yourself in order to move forward from the mistakes that you've made, learn your lessons, don't repeat the things that harm yourself,
Hmm.
others, and then you're able to accept and see the good that can happen in your life. Uh,
Right.
and how to do that is you just really have to make a decision for yourself. You have to love yourself enough. I am so sorry. You have to love yourself enough to be able to you just have to. You have to understand that you are human too. You're going to make mistakes, and you just try your best not to do the same ones again. And and you deserve to be happy, just like
Right.
everybody else does. And and to pull yourself out of that is not easy. It's not. Because you're still going to make mistakes, and you're still going to hurt people's feelings, and you're still going to you're still going to do something wrong, and you're still not going to say something right or whatever, because we're all humans, but you're not, nobody is perfect. So
Right.
you have to understand and love yourself, even you have to see yourself as I love me as I am imperfectly perfect.
Right.
Right? So I love me even though I know that there are parts of me that are not lovable.
That's good. Yes.
And 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 I just accept that because I do it for other people, so why not do it for myself? If I can do it for somebody else, I'm gonna do it for myself. And it's not being selfish, you know,
Right.
what's wrong with that. And I think that we're so, oh God, especially as women, we are so targeted when it comes to being selfish, and
Hmm.
loving yourself and allowing yourself to have the expectation that you are to be respected and you can respect yourself. That's not being selfish. Respecting yourself,
Right.
loving yourself is not taking away from anyone else. It's taking away the power that somebody else has to control how you feel or how you look at yourself. But if that's the case, you don't need them in your life anyway. That's nothing but toxic energy coming into your life and convincing you that you are less than what you actually are. And I feel like we fall into that trap way too many times.
Way too many. I absolutely agree. Um, I think I think that a lot of the times, what you were saying regarding realizing that everybody's not going to forgive you for the things that you did to hurt them, I think that is a lot of times keeps us, especially as women, and being emotional and just, we get all these feelings and emotions that sometimes just consume us. That is the very thing. It's not so much us and that we're just mad at us, or we just, think so low of ourselves. It's the other people that we care about or that we know cared about us. We can't bear that pain of them being upset or being angry or thinking less of us. But I guess it takes a lot of growth for sure, and healing and maturity and all of that to understand that if they don't forgive you, just like you said, it's okay. You have to be okay with what happened. You have to be okay with making the decision to not only move on, but you have to trust your journey and the process, that just as God placed those people in your life, guess what, he's got other people that understand your journey, um, that also need to hear the things that you've been through, so that they can begin to heal themselves. I know we go through things and we don't always understand. It's like, well, why me? And we immediately, even when people do things to us as women, a lot of ladies that I've talked to over the years, and even especially myself, the first thing that we do is we look at ourselves and say, what's wrong with me? It happened because of me. And it's just not true. We put on so much responsibility. We take too much responsibility for other people's actions.
Yeah.
And that can cloud our vision of ourselves, which is definitely not healthy. So how
So,
important has it?
I'm
No,
sorry. I
no,
just,
no.
I do just want to say this though, in relation to what you just said. That's the thing, right? We being responsible for everybody and everything. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that obviously naturally leads into control issues at times. Like we feel like we have to be in control of everything all the time, or if it comes back, it's going to be our fault. Okay,
Right.
and we will sit and blame ourselves for it, just like what you were just saying. But one important, very important lesson that I did learn, that I have learned, is that you absolutely cannot control what other people do. Cannot control what other people feel, what they think, what they say, what they do, how they react, how they perceive. You cannot control that at all. But what you can control is you.
That's it.
And that's the bottom line. I mean, you people can do terrible things to you, and how you react to it and what you do with it, it speaks about you. That's the only thing you are responsible for. You don't have to answer for what other people do and say and feel and act. That's not that's not your responsibility. And as women, I feel like we take on the responsibility of answering for other people, and that's not our job.
Yes. I cannot tell you how freeing, absolutely freeing that was for me when I finally, like, I heard people say it, all the time, but it didn't really click. I can say not until even a couple of months ago. It really clicked, and I was able to, at that point, release so much anxiety, stress, um, depression. Like, you were talking about, all of those things just went away, and I realized the weight of really, the opinions and feelings and all of that of other people that I was carrying, that I just did not have to. Um, how does self love at this point? How does it affect? Let me see, your friendships, your relationships, and the people that you choose to allow into your space.
So if you don't love yourself, can't truly invest in a relationship with other people. Um, Simply because there's going to come a time where there's going to come a time where you have to set boundaries for you. Okay, because if you don't set boundaries, you're going to come across people, and I'm sorry I have to get up.
No, you're fine.
I'm sorry, but anyway, if you don't set you have to love yourself enough to set boundaries. If you don't set yourself boundaries, you're going to wind up in abusive situations.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to wind up taking that out on people that you love and care. For self-love, for me, there's a couple of situations. One situation, I didn't love myself enough. And just actually today, um, because I went through a bout where I didn't love myself. I went through like a we go through these phases, and I had a phase there where I was depending on someone else to provide me a higher opinion of myself than I had of me.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that, because what happens is you end up pedestaling that person, and then they're going to disappoint you.
Yes.
And then you're going to find yourself lashing out and upset and mad and angry at them because they didn't live up to the standard that I should have held for myself.
Right.
Because and that will ruin the relationship. I mean, I lost that relationship. I lost that friend because I depended on an outside source to tell me I was important when I should have just been telling myself that. And I got dependent on it, and it worked out the way it did, which it never turned out to be a good thing.
Right.
On the other hand, I have a friendship that she learning self-love. So in saying that, um, with her learning self-love, um, I know how to encourage her to set standards for herself, for her, and
Right.
set boundaries for herself. And like what you were talking about, you've been there, then you can relate to people and be able to tell them, show them, hey, you can do this. And I encourage her all the time and remind her of how beautiful she is. You know what I'm saying? Um, so I don't feel like you can really give yourself fully if you don't love yourself. Because then you end up comparing yourself to that person sometimes. If it's a woman to woman relationship, a friendship. I mean, we'll
Right.
sit there and start, and then envy kicks in, and then we start getting jealous, this and that, the other. And you think about women that go in and date other women's husbands.
Mm-hmm.
They have no self love most
Right.
of the time. You know what I mean? Most of the time, that's literally the case. They see that, they think that that woman is happy because of that man, and she wants that situation for herself, when in actuality
Right.
he's not the source, right?
Right.
She is the source of her happiness, and he's a part of that. He got added into that fold, and then just that, then if you don't love yourself, you are a walking, talking trigger of bad stuff that can come and happen to other people. Because of you will make bad decisions that affect other people in an extremely negative way. Not just that, but in multiple ways, like I was talking about before. As a mother, you don't love yourself, you're destruction. You're
Right.
destruction. You're going to make decisions that are going to negatively affect other people, and it's going to come right back at you and send you into a whirlwind when at the end of the day you got to let go. You got to let go of that person, that whole person. That whole person that didn't get you anywhere, that whole person that is you, the whole version of you that hurt people, that found yourself in terrible situations, making bad decisions. You have to take responsibility. You have to be accountable for yourself and forgive yourself, and then love yourself anyway.
Right.
And then you start to grow, and then you start to draw in people that reflect how you feel about yourself. That's the whole thing. How you treat yourself is how other people are going to treat you. Period. That's it. If you don't if you don't respect yourself, you're going to surround yourself with a bunch of people that don't respect you.
Yes.
If you don't set yourself your own boundaries, you're going to be surrounded by a bunch of people that don't respect any boundaries that you have. They're not going
Right.
to care that you have them. And you're going to let them do it because you don't care enough about yourself to say, you're not going to treat me like that. And you have got to be able to do that for yourself. You have to do that for yourself. You have to want your your gift, okay? Whoever sees this
Yeah.
as a woman, yeah, okay, we're responsible for everything, but you are a beautiful creature. You're you're a beautiful creation. Okay, we're built differently. We can carry the world on our shoulders. They say every behind every good man's a good woman. Yeah, you know why? Because she's the one that's doing everything. You know what I mean? And she's throwing him out there saying, "Here, don't make me look a fool." And I mean, we are our own worst enemy, and we have got to stop doing that. We have to stop doing that because we're hurting ourselves. Women are women are dying left and right because they gave up on themselves.
Right.
And we as women have got to start encouraging each other to love each other and ourselves so much better than what we do, because we we are what makes things work. We are the ones yeah, we got to have a man to have it, but have a baby. But at the end of the day, we're the nurturers. We're the ones that tend the garden of the world. And and we raise our sons, and if we don't love ourselves, we're teaching our sons not to love their wives.
Absolutely.
We're raising daughters, we're teaching our daughters not to love themselves. And then you have, I mean, look, it's women that are dying left and right: anorexia, bulimia, uh, suicide, uh,
Right.
binge eating and eating and eating and eating our feelings away until
Mm.
we're giving ourselves freaking heart attacks at 40, 35
Right.
years old. That is all, seriously, that is just, it's tragic. We've got women laying up on the couch for 2 weeks and not taking a shower because she can't find it in herself to to be worth even going and taking a shower. I mean, it's heartbreaking is what it is. And we have to be better. We have to treat each other better. We have to treat each other better, and we have to treat ourselves a heck of a lot better than what we're doing now.
Absolutely. Everything, everything that you said. Again, it's just, it's right on time. And as far as treating each other better as women, um, I feel like, a lot of the times we overlook, especially we talked about friendships and like romantic relationships, but even in familial relationships with our family members, with our mom, our grandma, there are so many generational patterns and habits that just continue because no one was either you were never taught how to properly love yourself, um, you were taught that it was vain to do so, or there was just a lot of
Or judgments.
yes, a lot of judgments, unhealed wounds, all of that stuff that is never really taken into consideration, and so the cycle continues.
Mhm.
And I hear a lot of people talk about being the black sheep in the family,
Oh yeah.
or the
Guess what?
right. I mean, but and I share this with my one of my other friends. We have to learn, like, it's so, I don't know. People make it seem like a bad thing. I think being the black sheep is pretty cool because guess what? It's the black sheep that is there to break that cycle, that negative cycle, that toxicity, and all of that stuff. So it's because of your quirks, the things that make you different, um, that make you, just like you were saying, so beautiful. And it gives you the ability and the power and the courage, if you will just think about it in a different way. Don't always look at things as, oh, well, I'm different, so that's a bad thing, or I've got to try and fix myself this way to blend in with the rest of either my family or my friends, or whatever. We have to learn to be comfortable in our own skin
Mhm.
with our own desires. So that we can, just like you were talking about, our children, we have to set different examples for them, because if they never see anyone in healthy relationships, if they never see anyone courageous enough to go after their own dreams, after their own aspirations, just to be themselves, to love themselves enough, it just creates more trauma.
It does. It does. Now, the big question is, so we can sit here and talk about, what you need to do.
Hmm.
How do you do it? So, for me, meditation helped a lot.
Hmm.
Um, uh, some people, for some people, meditation is simply prayer.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, then there's meditation, right? I do both. So, I have prayer, but then I also have meditation, which is a clearing of the mind and clearing the clutter out of the mind. And part of my meditation is always reminding myself to forgive myself and to give myself permission to accept the beautiful things that are coming. I mean, I feel like we, for me, that's what helped a lot for me is I had, that's what I do, and I do it every day.
Right.
I have to do it every day. I have to remember, I have to remember myself every day.
Hmm.
I have to, yeah, take care of this, take care of that, this and that, the other. But I always remember me.
Yes.
And I went many a year where I didn't care, you know, um, about myself at all. It was always about everybody else because I was looking for outside validation
Absolutely.
who I was, and I depended on other people because of the way that I was raised. Right? Um, I I felt like that is the way it was. So other people told me, you're supposed to look like this, and you're supposed to act like that, and you're supposed to, sound like this, and you're supposed to do this and that and the other. And I know my weight has always been a thing, and probably it's painful, and I heard, you know, um, oh, you'd be so, oh my God, you're so pretty. You'd be gorgeous if you just wait. Oh my God. And, honey, don't go out of this house with any lipstick on you. You don't know who you're going to meet. What? Care? You know
Right.
what I mean? Yeah, I sell Mary Kay, but I like skin products. I mean, look at this skin, girl. I'm 46 years old. I mean, come on now. So I I don't want to look 80, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not I am 90.
Oh my gosh.
but I but I mean, I wake up now because I want to. It's not
Right.
because I think that I'm not going to be worthiness at risk because I don't have my lipstick on. And my weight, I finally, as you know, finally, oh my God, after all this time, finally came to the conclusion, you know what, listen, I am sick and tired of stressing myself over what that scale tells me.
Yeah.
Because you know what? That scale does not measure my worth at all. It does
Right.
not tell me how big my heart is. It
Yeah.
doesn't tell me how smart I am. And it doesn't tell me how kind, how nice, how whatever I am. It doesn't tell me anything except it gives me a number that I will that we sit and judge ourselves by, and society has made us that way.
Right.
And that is a freeing moment. That is a freeing moment. It's like I am sick and tired of apologizing for being a woman, first of all, but I'm sick and tired of apologizing for just being myself, who I
Right.
and I feel like we as women entire much because we never to every standard. It's not gonna happen. What was that you posted? What did you use that where you posted it? Posted it. It was the you know
Let me see.
it was
I
seeing the sunset and seeing the stars or something. They're two completely different. Or seeing the sun and seeing whatever. I can't remember.
I don't even remember. Sorry.
Is the point is, look at us. You're beautiful. I'm beautiful. We are two completely different visions. Does that mean that you're worth more than me or me worth you? No. No. And completely different. Ours are made different. Our hair, you know, we're completely different. You're equally as beautiful. And you look at your body, okay? So what? Your your butt might look different than somebody else's butt, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's still it's still a nice butt. You know what I'm saying? You have to understand that your opinion of something is not going to be the same opinion as everybody else, but who cares? Because what matters is your opinion
That's
of
it.
you. And that's it. Because no two people think the same thing all the time. I mean, it's just not going to happen. I mean, I can have 30 people tell me I'm ugly and have 60 to tell me I look great.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
so why should I base my self-worth or how I see myself or how I feel like I look or whatever? Why should I base that on that opinion that because that's their opinion and they can have it. They're entitled to have it, but guess what? They can also look somewhere else. They don't have to look at me. Okay.
Exactly.
And so, and I will tell them that now, used to, I would just be like, oh my God, what can I do to change so that I can look like what this person thinks I'm supposed to look like, or this group thinks that I'm supposed to look like? The heck with that group. They can have somebody else that looks more to what they think it's supposed to be, and it be part of them. They can all be happy together. And that's
Right.
my business. You know what I'm saying? Because I can find a group of people that are going to love me just for me. And that's the only people I'm interested in being around. And that group may not be big, but I don't care
Right.
because,
Right.
keep your group small.
And even if not that, just that level of confidence that comes along with the healing, with the growth and maturity, along this journey of self-love, with just being okay with who and what is for you being for you. and not comparing yourself to the masses and to the people around you and all of that stuff
Yeah.
that
No, I'm
conf-
not gonna do it.
yeah,
I'm not gonna look. I'm not going to I'm not going to change myself, okay, to someone that feels like I owe them that change.
absolutely.
I don't owe you nothing. I owe myself my happiness and what I like about me. And if I want to change something about myself, by God, I'll do it because I want to, not because somebody else thinks that that's how it should change. As I was saying the other day about these relationships, people will straight up leave somebody because they gain 20 pounds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, y'all crazy. Y'all don't have any concept of true value of a person.
Right.
Guess what? Having lost my husband last year, I'm gonna tell you something right now. That was a pivotal moment for me. Okay? Because when you die, it don't make a damn what you look like. None of it matters. None of it matters. None of it. Lowest self-esteem I first met him, and I refused to allow him to speak ill of himself.
Right.
I wouldn't listen to it. You know, you're not going to make fun of yourself. You're not going to crack jokes on things about you because that is who you are, and we're not going to do that. Okay? That man found love for himself. And when he died, he was finally okay with who he was. And he had a family. He had a woman that loved him, and he was surrounded by people that still can't imagine a day without him.
Right.
So at the end of the day, you can do all this stuff that you think matters, but it really doesn't.
Right.
Because your soul, what you got to make sure of is that you maintain a beautiful soul.
Yes.
That's the only thing that's going to be here when you're dead. That's it. And then it goes away, right? And then what? You're a pretty body. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Who cares?
Right.
You're about to either get burned in a box, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. I mean, there's people that will work themselves to death of working out every day. And I'm not saying it's bad. If you want to feel about you, then that's what you do. But there's that exercise and starve themselves to death. For what? For what? Because it doesn't matter. When you're old and you're gray and everything's hanging and sagging, doesn't matter. When's the last time you heard anybody talk about somebody's granny being ugly? Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you talk about older women, they are the ones with the confidence because they already learned, they already know. They didn't seen it. They didn't seen what matters. And it doesn't matter all this fake stuff, running around here and there trying to spending all this money, buying all these expensive clothes and doing all this extra stuff that's just not necessary.
Right.
And they're doing it to please other people, and they're hollow inside, and they're lost and they're sad all the time, and they're just tragic. It's tragic. We have to get to a better place than that, because I mean, when you watch somebody you love leave, nobody cared about what he looked like. Nobody cared. At his funeral, nobody talked about his clothes. Nobody talked about the truck he drove. Nobody talked about any of the materialistic things. They talked about what a beautiful spirit he was, and they talked about what a good man he was, and they talked about how much he helped other people and how much he loved everybody he came in contact with. And it took him a really long time to love himself. And I feel like that's the saddest part, is that he spent so much of his life basing his value that he had in himself on what other people thought about him. Don't do that. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to do that anymore. Because you know what? They can't save me when it's my time to go.
Right.
They can't. And I don't care if somebody coming in here and paying my bills. The minute he tries to tell me that I got to be something different than what I am, he got to go. Because baby, this is me.
Right.
You know, and you, it's we lost it. We lost it somewhere. I mean, we look at us. I mean, we have a commonality. It doesn't matter what race we are or where we come from. Women all around the world are subservient. You know, I mean, there's a culture of subserviency all over the world, and we can't keep doing that. We can't get Jesus. Jesus never put the women in his life as second class citizens.
Never.
Mm-mm. They were the pioneers. When he died, it was the Marys that went out and spread that word.
Yeah.
And we are taught from so young that we're supposed to just listen to what the man says and be subservient and be good and obedient. No. I'm
Now I'm gonna deep dive into that on tomorrow. So
I,
I'm about to
oh,
grab you
wait to
again.
do that.
Because I definitely want to talk about what you were saying, being subservient versus being submissive, the way that Christ intended for us, because there is
Right.
such a difference.
Big difference.
And the way that he intends it will help us to grow in our self-love and our understanding and our love for other people. And I think that is such a common misconception, and just, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
it gets
because
me
I mean
excited.
we are here to serve. We are. But we are here to serve others
Right.
and to share the value in ourselves and teach other people how to find the value in themselves. So yeah, big difference. I can't
I,
wait to see that.
look, I can't wait. I'm excited, just as I'm excited um, just to talk to you. This has been awesome. We have to do it more awesome. I mean, more awesome, more often.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
I want to
I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I hope I didn't get too long winded. I know that I can.
know everything that you said needed to be said. Someone, whoever catches this, whether you're watching it live, whether you catch the replay, really take it in. And I want to speak into your life for a moment, because you talked about um, your husband, and I know that that was a very difficult time period, for you. I don't know everything, of course, that went on during your marriage and everything, but I hope that you know that you are such a blessing. I truly believe that you are a beautiful, beautiful soul, and that probably the one of the highest purposes and callings for your life is for you to help other people to see the beauty in themselves. I've I haven't known you for forever, but I've known you for a few years, and you have always just had such a beautiful spirit. And I believe that you truly have a heart to leave people better than you found them. because of you, your husband, just yes, it's sad, for him to have gone those years not knowing how to love himself, not knowing how to, appreciate who he was and how uniquely he was created. But I hope that you know and that you understand how important and how special it is that you were able to help him to get to that point before he passed, because that's something beautiful, and that's something very powerful. And you've spoken about being a life coach, and I hope and hope and hope that that's still a desire of your heart, because you are, even without trying,
Oh,
you are.
I really appreciate that. I really do. I want to. I would love to get to a point where there's a few things I feel like that's in me that I have to repair, before I feel like I can,
Help other people.
truly help, um, help people, in that way. I really appreciate you saying that, Brittany. I really do.
And
I really,
as well.
but I know what, but you know what? I'm like that, quite frankly. Um, I try to be that way because I know what it feels like
Mhm.
to not be wanted and not feel good about myself. And
Right.
you know, but I tell you though, the largest lessons I learned in my life was when I was homeless. I saw, I have seen the rock bottom of a woman's self image,
Mhm.
and I have seen a woman be controlled to a point that, she was wholly and completely, um, dependent on other people's opinions for survival. And I knew that once I got away from that environment, I would never go back. But anytime I can, I'll always try to, encourage a woman to not, to at least, I'm not saying you got to fall in love with yourself immediately, okay, because it does take work and it takes time. But anytime I can, encourage a woman to love herself, to at least, if nothing else, care enough about herself to not allow someone else to completely control everything about her life, and 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 abuse her, and
Mhm.
put her in horrible situations to where she feels trapped and feels like she has no choice, and she loses confidence in herself, her abilities to make decisions, all because someone convinced her of that. If one person if one person can avoid that hell of living, um, it was worth it. It was worth it. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That is that is by far, um, the motivation. You
Right.
know, because you pick yourself up off of a floor that somebody put you on,
Oh yeah.
um, and if you can find it in yourself to have the strength to walk away from it and hide, if you have
Yes.
to run. Sometimes you have to just run.
Right.
And then you can figure out how to not go back to that.
Right.
And so, if, yeah, that's why I wanted to, that's why that is a goal of mine, right?
Yes.
Because I want to know that when I'm gone, that the gift that I gave to the world, the mark that I left, was somebody that could find it in themselves to save themselves and survive.
What is that's look, I'm a crybaby.
Yeah,
Okay.
over here going, thank God I wore waterproof, you know.
I really just I thank you. Like this whole talk, and thank you for, letting us in
Thank
to your
you.
story and to your journey. Before we go though, I want you to, tap in just for a second and let us know the goal. I think you pretty much said it, but if it's more specific, your goal through Mary Kay, but because you've been through so much and you have so much experience and you have such a big heart for women, in what ways are you looking to help women, to transform through what you do in Mary Kay?
Okay, so I can give you a quick rundown of that. I actually can do something quick. Um,
You're
I'm sorry, I'm terrible. I did will. I just start on a run. Okay,
fine.
without going into too much detail. Okay, past couple of companies I've worked for, I've made these people a lot of money. Okay, I have. I have worked 80-hour weeks plus, to build a business because they trusted me with that ability, and I felt like that I never wanted to disappoint them. But I didn't have confidence that I could ever do it for myself. Well, it got to a point where I actually started having confidence in myself, and I still got screwed over. That's why I signed up for Mary Kay, because Mary Kay is a company that was created by women, that's women, ran by women. Now there are some men that are in, that are in marriage, but we still are. It's a woman dominated company.
Mhm.
Basic business plan, super simple. But the reason why I got into it is because Mary Kay Ash, the woman that started the company, um, she trained executives back 60 years, trained executives for these big jobs, all these men. Okay. And so one day she goes to her boss and she, hey, I'm training. I already know why not promotion, and I get the job. Seems fair. He says, yeah, that's cute. Go get me some coffee. So she didn't go get coffee. Went and started a business.
Mhm.
Okay. So thing about Mary Kay is it was right there in the women's rights movement. Okay. So while people are burning their bras, she's over there fighting for women's rights and equality in the workplace and so on and so forth. And she was proving that, I can be a woman and this, that, the other. Reason for the pink Cadillac that Mary Kay is known for is because to she went over to the Lincoln dealership, and the Lincoln dealership says, sorry, you got to have your husband come in and sign for you for the car. So she says, okay, yeah, bump that. So she walked across the street to the Cadillac dealership, and they said, well, do I have to have my husband to get a car? No, you just have to have the money to buy the car. She said, here's the money. So give me my car, paint. And that was it. That's how the pink Cadillac came to be. So it's an empowerment, it's an empowering company.
Right.
So it's at your pace. So it's like any woman, it doesn't matter. Okay, so it doesn't matter what her schedule is. She could be a work at home mom, she could work, like have a job, she go to school, whatever, it doesn't matter. There's a plan for all of them. Okay, for all levels, and it's at your own pace. And so you have a whole complete system. And so support system. So when I looked at it and I looked at the business plan and I looked at how it works, okay, a lot of people are like, oh, it's a pyramid scheme. No, it's not. You know what? Every other corporation in America, okay, has
Right.
little has all the people that work at different levels of the company that creates all the big bonuses that go up to the guys upstairs. Okay.
Right.
All corporations are built the same way. Mary Kay is no different. It's just that it's straight up company to consultant. Okay. It's
Right.
it's direct flow. It's direct flow. You don't have to wait for a bonus every quarter or yearly or hope that you get a Christmas bonus. You do your job and you do your job and you make your own bonuses. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Point is, I looked at the business plan, I looked at how it worked out and what it was, what it stands for, okay? And I had the opportunity in UK, believe it themselves, that can support each other, that can feel like they've accomplished something. And they all have the opportunity to do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. That's why I did it. That's why the principles that the company is founded on. It's telling women, yeah, you can. And
Right.
if you don't know how, we're going to have a team of people that's going to show you how, and we're going to support you while you learn and while you do it. And I can have 100 no's, okay? The same philosophy, right? I can have 100 no's. But if one person, one lady says, you know what? I want to see if I can do this for myself. Okay. Well, that's an opportunity, right? That's an
Right.
opportunity to be able to say, you know what? Yeah, you can. And I'm going to teach you how. And I'm going to love you the whole time.
Yes.
Be supported. And my always have been, you always confidant. You always can depend on that you can look up or look them. That that's I mean opportunity to give women opportunities to accomplish something and not let other people tell her that she can't, because there's thousands of women that at any time you can pick up the phone and call or email or text or message on Messenger, and she will remind you that you can and that you're worthy and that you're worth it, and that, you know, they're not setting you up for something, you know, that's not going to work out. It's support and it's love, and I'm all.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. Um, Real quick, let us know what I don't know. Do you have a Mary Kay business page on Facebook that they can follow, or a way to follow you? I've seen you do some there's some inspirational videos. So I would love, for our viewers to connect with you as well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so I'm Bonnie. I'm just Bonnie Griffin on Facebook, Birmingham, Alabama. I don't think there's many Bonnie Griffins running around
I don't
Birmingham.
think so.
I think so. But my Facebook page is Bonnie Griffin, Independent Beauty Consultant, Mary Kay Independent Beauty Consultant. That's my page. And there's a link for the website that's on the page. But I do love to connect with people. My messenger is always open. And I, and I might tell a dirty joke every once in a while, but then that. But everybody wants, you know, they don't. If, I don't want to anybody. I always want people to always understand that somebody is there,
Yes.
even if you feel like nobody understands, nobody cares, nobody. No, 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 honey, no, not as long as I'm alive. Because I want to hear the story. And I'm not going to judge you for whatever your story is, because your life is just as valuable as anybody else's. And, you know, it's no less valuable than mine or anybody else. And I'm sorry, my dog.
No, she's fine. You're fine. Give her some more of those pistachios.
I know. She's done finished them off, though. That's the problem. That's why she's looking at me, because she's done with her pistachio.
But it has been such a joy. Really, really has talking to you. And
Thank
like I
you so
said,
much
we've
for
got. You're welcome.
I know. I feel like you definitely have learned something about me tonight.
It, so much, and it's been so helpful. And it's like, why did I not reach out to you before? Because you gave so many great nuggets.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And for anybody that's watching, I mean, seriously, you don't you're not by yourself, and you're worth it. You're worth everything that you're worth it, and you matter. You absolutely matter. I mean, and don't let anybody tell you any different. People are going to be haters. People are going to judge. Let them think what they want to. Let them think whatever they want to. But here that you're special and you are a queen. Period.
Right. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the first night of H.E.R Presents The Journey to Self-Love. Tonight, again, was with Bonnie Griffin. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch the replay, share it with your friends or family or whoever you feel that needs to hear it. And we will see you again tomorrow.
Hey, I can't wait for that one. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.